Well, good Wednesday evening, everyone. Todd Warren, streaming live on the KTAL News app. I always want to say broadcasting live. It's not that way anymore. Also, coming to you live on Facebook on my on my page of Facebook. I can't talk tonight. Todd Warren Weather. They're on Facebook. If you're watching on Facebook, hello. And if you're watching at home on your TV via the KTAL Now app, hello to you as well. Coming up tonight, we're going to be looking at various things. I think the highlight for us in the next week will be a little surge of cold, which is on the way. More details on that. But you can see the colors with the sunset this evening. Had quite a few high clouds once again. As I mentioned last night, and I think the night before, whenever we have the high clouds, we tend to get colorful sunrises and sunsets. And that definitely was the case tonight. Let's take a look at what's on the docket tonight, as we are looking at one more day with temperatures that will be about 20 degrees above normal. Tomorrow very well could be the warmest day of the week, as we are looking at rain chances. According to the models, they continue to go down with the disturbance that will move well to our north this weekend, but we will see a cold front move through that will usher in some colder air behind this frontal system. We will stay dry as we move through next week, the way it looks right now, and then we'll see another warm up. And I mentioned the cold coming this weekend. When we get to that point, I looked up the average dates of our last freeze during the last 30 years. Now, I chose 30 years because our normals are based on 30-year periods, so that would give us a general sense of what's happened here during the last 3 decades. I'll share those dates with you. We are getting close at a few locations already, believe it or not. And, of course, I'll let you know how low those temperatures will go. And after the cold, we will see yet another warm-up next week, although it probably will not be as warm as what we have experienced today. Again, if you're watching on Facebook or if you're watching on the app and you want to have a question or want to say hi, go to my Facebook page. And if you're watching there, be sure to ask all the questions you want. If you just want to say hello, that's great too, as it's tradition for us to begin with our hellos. And Brian, as usual, is first on board tonight. Hello there, Brian. Brad, hello. Rusty, good evening to you. Aaron, they're up there in WCOK, that's Wright City, Oklahoma. Hello to you. Lewis, good evening. And Eric says it's now 68 degrees in Colbert, Oklahoma, near Lake Texoma. 76, he said, for the daytime high in his neck of the woods today. All right, well, let me get going here and show you what is happening as my level of worry, still 2 out of 10. Really nothing too much as far as rain. No other real issues to worry about here moving forward, as we are going to see conditions across the area stay relatively quiet. Even with the small rainfall chances, instability is going to be very limited. Not even going to show you the numbers tonight because we really don't have much to worry about, which is, I always like it when the weather worry index is 2. It's very rarely 1. I only have a 2 because we have a chance of rain. If it's 75 every day for 10 days, then that number would be 1. Of course, it has to be sunny too, right? Anyway, high temperatures today made it to 79 degrees in Shreveport. 80 degrees was the daytime high this afternoon in Texarkana, Marshall, and Longview. Those are the warm spots across the area. As far as wind, it was a bit breezy today, not quite as gusty as yesterday, but you can see the peak wind gusts still in excess of 20 miles per hour across the area. The peak wind gust in Longview and Texarkana both coming in at 26 miles per hour at one point since midnight. Last couple nights, we've had the possibility of seeing a little fog. I doubt that we'll see much tonight, as was the case last night. The HRRR model kind of hinting at maybe a little bit late tonight over the extreme northern edge of the area, but no need to worry about any foggy conditions across the area here moving forward, as your weather pattern shows that we are going to be looking at conditions that will be basically staying warm until this troughiness here over the Pacific Northwest moves east, and then it's not going to dig south and then move like this. Instead, it's basically going to move like this, and then we'll see a big trough develop out here. And because of that, we're not going to see much as far as rain here in the Arklatex as a result of that. So let's take you through the next 3 or 4 days here. That previous map was the upper level pattern. Now let's show you the surface pattern with highs, lows, and fronts, as well as Futurecast beneath. And you can see the only trouble spots tonight, East Coast as well as the West Coast. California's been getting hammered with rain here recently with these disturbances that have been coming down. And you can see that that first disturbance, basically just a wind shift tomorrow, but that low up in the upper Midwest is going to produce some snow up there. You can see that low marching into the Rockies. That is going to continue to march towards the east, and basically the low redevelops and slides just to our north. Notice that we really don't see much as far as development. That low is not really going to be very strong, although we will start to see a little bit of a breeze on Saturday. Rain will be somewhat limited for us the way it looks right now, as we are looking at conditions that will remain relatively dry. And you can see yet another disturbance approaching the west coast as we go through Saturday. And after that front moves in, we're going to settle into a dry here in the Arctic for all of next week, the way it checks out right now. Some models hinting at maybe a little bit of a chance of rain next weekend, but that's at the very end of the 10-day period. And really, of the next 10 days, really Friday night, Saturday of this week is just a low-end chance, as you'll see here in a second. And you can taking you into Sunday, the dry weather continues. This weekend actually looks pretty nice. I think, is Betty here yet? There you are, Betty. You asked about Saturday, and I mentioned that it would be in the morning, and most models show that we'll probably see some sunshine Saturday afternoon. In fact, let me show you what Futurecast is showing. Before I do that, let's see who else is. Brad said you sent more pictures to. Are you talking about Facebook Messenger, Brad? If you can send them to the website, that way I can legally use them. I'll be more than happy to use them if you can send them there. You know the routine. I don't know if you watch on TV. Go to the local views page, click on that green add button. Mary, hello in Dodge Ridge. Hopefully you enjoy the day today. Betty, greetings to you. You have a great evening too, Mary, and thank you as always for watching. Let's move ahead with Futurecast here, and you can see the clouds increasing, which is typical when we have a southerly component in the wind. That will be the case tonight. Tomorrow we will see a little bit more sunshine, I think, in the afternoon, so a better chance of making it into the 80s over most of the area tomorrow. And you can see tomorrow night, latest run of Futurecast is pretty much dry, maybe a shower over the southern edge of the area. And then Friday, Futurecast tries to bring that chance of rain as far north as I-20. But it's going to, if we get it, it's not going to be much, as you can tell by the light greens. The rain chances, again, the light greens stick around through Friday night into Saturday morning. And you can see the trend here Saturday is that the clouds will decrease during the afternoon. We will see a mostly clear sky Saturday night. And again, lows tonight will be in the mid-60s. We'll be in the 30s for lows Saturday night into Sunday morning. And Sunday, we will struggle to make it to 60 with this north to northwesterly wind. Now, let's see. Dylan, hello to you. Hopefully, you're enjoying your Wednesday evening. Moving forward here, you can see the weather pattern as we go into the longer range aspect of things is looking somewhat quiet here for us. You can see the trophiness here over the western, northwestern quarter of the country. The ridging actually centered over Florida right now. Notice that disturbance slides towards us. The rain breaks out to the east. And then watch how this trough digs into the eastern seaboard here. And with this northwesterly flow, we're going to see the winds. This is going to really send some cold air into the eastern half of the country to close this weekend and head into next week. So probably a couple days with highs in the low 60s, maybe even 50. I think Monday, 50s Monday. But after that, notice the ridge to the west of us. It is gradually going to migrate more towards the east, although it will lose some of its punch. The GFS is showing another upper level low trying to dig south into the upper Midwest, but it's looking doubtful that it'll do so enough to really bring us any hope of additional rain or any shots of cold air, as you'll see in grain of salt time here in a second. So that's the pattern as we've kind of entered grain of salt time. that is the pattern that we will see here for the better part of the next 2 weeks. Oh no, Brad, do you have the Weather Authority app, Brad? You can go to the submit photos section of that, and if you scroll down, you'll see a green add button that you can use. Let's see. We're eventually, yes, Gail, we will. I mentioned, I don't know if it was last night or the night before last, I think it was Monday night, that so far we're not as bad as we were in 2011. But one thing that, because of that and the fact that every month in 2011 had right around half the normal rainfall, it probably won't get as bad as it was in 2011. Now, if we get a quarter of our normal rainfall every month, then we would catch up quickly, right? Let's see. Mitch, I appreciate that, Mitch, and thank you for watching. Lindsay, hello. Stephen, I maybe not in terms of frequency, but I think in terms of the number of tornadoes, typically we're on the cusp of La Nina right now, and typically we get above normal tornado action in the spring months when that happens. So I would lean towards a little bit above normal in terms of how that goes. So we'll see how that turns out. And Lindsay, hello again. All right, let's go to low temperatures here. This is for Tuesday morning, probably going to be the coldest morning with this cold snap that's coming. And you can see the low temperatures, 34 in Shreveport, but notice several locations at or below freezing. 28 Tuesday morning in DeQueen, 29 degrees in Magnolia, 32 in Natchitoches, and 32 degrees also the low temperature in Center. So it's going to get cold here as we move into the first half of next week. That being said, you might be wondering, what is the average date of the last freeze? I looked them up, and there's a database at the various stations, and the one for Shreveport doesn't cover all the way back to 1876, which is when records began, but it does go back to the 1930s. So I decided to do more normal. In other words, average is, as I mentioned at the top, calculated on a 30-year average, right? When you hear average high temperature, that's the average high for that date over the last 30 years. Or at least we're using the 30-year period now from, 1991 to 2020. All right, so in the last 30 years, 1996 to now, here is the average date of the last freeze. DeQueen, March 28th, and these are arranged north to south, basically. Texarkana, March 11th. Marshall, March 12th. You might be wondering, well, why is Marshall later than Texarkana? It's basically the location at the airport, which is outside of town. Plus, Marshall isn't as sizable as Texarkana. The airport in Texarkana is on the outskirts of the city, so that might explain part of that. Shreveport, our average date in the last 30 years is March 1st. So we are getting close to that. And in Natchitoches, the average date of the last freeze is February 21st. So again, based on the last 30 years, we're getting close to our average date of the last freeze. Now, if we do not get another freeze in Shreveport, this year's last freeze would come in second as the second earliest last freeze. So it's going to be interesting. That in part tells me that we have another one coming at some point. So although I don't see any of that coming just yet. Let's see. Melanie, hello. Tanya, no, I feel fine. Just all the talking tends to get to my voice, and I was just clearing it somewhat. So thanks for the concern, though. Good night, Gail. Don't go away so quickly. I'm not done yet. No, I'm just kidding. You have a good night, Gail. All right, let's move ahead and show you the rainfall as we'll go 7, 10, and 14 days. 7-day outlook from the Weather Prediction Center shows that we will see amounts of hardly anything, 1/100th of an inch to less than 1/10 of an inch, basically, in the colored areas. The gray areas are nothing. So it's possible in the next week the northwest half of the area stays totally dry. Here's the blend of models, pretty darn similar. As you can see here, this takes us through next Saturday. So doesn't bode well for helping with the drought conditions. Looking at the individual models, they're not all zeros. Most show right around a tenth to a quarter of an inch. That probably would be the best case scenario. Now, keep in mind, a lot of these are ensembles, which tend to run to normal the farther you go out. So that might explain that. If you see an ensemble, say, 0 for a 2-week period, it's not going to rain. All right, anyway, let's show you the GFS going out 2 weeks. And you can see that it shows amounts from now through March 4th, I think it is now. Less than a quarter of an inch area wide for the next 2 weeks. Keep in mind, we get about an inch and 2/3 every 10 days. So this would almost add another 2 inches to our deficits that we are accruing across the Arklatex right now. So let's hope this is wrong. The key will be towards the end of the period. All right, let's go ahead and show you temperatures here as we move forward, and you can see that that cooling trend, and both the European and GFS ensembles will show that trend. You can see the 81 tomorrow, which is what I have for the daytime high. Mid-50s for Monday, maybe a little cool, and you can see the lows will dip into the low to middle 33, according to the European ensembles in Shreveport. Let me see what I have. I think I have 34. 34 for the nighttime low Monday morning in Shreveport. Notice the quick warm-up back up close to 80, and then we kind of moderate back to the mainly low 70s. Overnight lows, 3 nights in the 30s. Those are the only 3 nights that we will see below normal temperatures. Same thing for the day. Normal high now is 63, or maybe 64. The normal low is 42. So we are, again, most of the next 2 weeks will feature above normal temperatures both during the day and at night. GFS ensembles not as warm as far as the daytime highs during the warm periods. The GFS, curiously, is not as cold in the cold period. Notice 37 for Tuesday morning. But nonetheless, this bodes well for not seeing any more freezes. As I mentioned, March 1st, that would be right here, is the average date for the last freeze in Shreveport. And these are numbers for Shreveport. So you can probably add or subtract depending on where you live in relation to Shreveport. Again, thanks, Tanya. Mitch, we have gotten below 19, I want to say it was 89. I just looked at it earlier, and I had that link up, but I closed it. It was in the 80s. I want to say it was 89, and it was March 11th or April 11th, 31 degrees maybe. So it was in the 80s, so it very well could have happened. Let's see. Well, happy birthday to everybody, Betty. Just keep in mind it's going to be a bit cooler Saturday, as we're probably going to be in the mid to upper 60s for highs, and then even cooler on Sunday. All right, that being said, here's a look at my forecast as we move forward, and you can see that tonight we will see the clouds thicken up once again as temperatures across the area will fall into the low to middle 60s, 64 in Shreveport, 63 in Texarkana, 63 degrees as well in Marshall, and 63 degrees for the nighttime low tonight in Natchitoches. Tomorrow, we are going to see a mostly cloudy sky. It will be warm and breezy. Look at the normal high, 63. 81 in both Shreveport and Texarkana tomorrow, 82 degrees in Marshall, and 81 degrees for the high temperature in Natchitoches. Here is my 10-day forecast, and you can see not too hopeful for rain, probably less than 20% Friday night, and Saturday morning. I think Saturday we will manage some afternoon sunshine, Betty. And then Sunday down to 61 with a low in the morning at 39. We will warm back up into the 60s by Tuesday, which would be pretty close to normal, and then into the upper 70s by the end of next week. Overnight lows will eventually warm back up into the 50s. And notice, really no more rain next week into next weekend. So it looks like we're going to settle into pretty pleasant weather, actually, as we head out of February. Saturday, at the end of the 10-day period, is the last Saturday in February. So we'll be entering official severe weather season as we go into March. All right, that will officially do it for me tonight, folks. But of course, before I let you go, I have to send you off with my attempt at a little bit of humor. And that being said, we're going to do it Karnak style, Johnny Carson style, or as I like to say, Warnak style. And this is where, you remember the old Karnak routine where we have an envelope, Johnny would guess what's in the envelope, and then Ed McMahon would go, ho, 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 and then he would tell you what was in the envelope. All right, so anyway, basically, he's going to tell you the answer to the question in this envelope. So here we go. Wow, this is weird. I see a towel. Ed McMahon says, a towel. Ho, ho. Rip. What gets wetter the more it dries? And that will officially do it for me tonight, folks. Thanks for tuning in, as always. And Aaron, yes, I would suspect that you will see a freeze. Quite possible on possibly Monday morning, quite possibly Tuesday morning as well. So prepare for that if you have some plans you want to take care of. As I mentioned, that's my time for tonight. As always, I really do appreciate everyone watching. And I'll be back tomorrow night. Of course, Grain of Salt night tomorrow night will take you out to look at the next 6 weeks. It's going to be important as far as rain to see how those numbers have changed. I'll share those with you tomorrow night. So until tomorrow night, have a great Thursday. And if you like the warm temperatures, be sure to get outside and enjoy them. Good night.